Hi, and welcome to another episode of Amazing Individuals, where we talk to individuals with intellectual disabilities and people that support them. On today's episode, I will be talking to Kiera Byland, who is an athlete leader from Special Olympics Great Britain. Hi, Kiera, and welcome to our show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Could you please tell our listeners where you're from and how long you've been involved with Special Olympics?
Of course. So I'm from Special Olympics Great Britain, as you mentioned, and I first got introduced to Special Olympics in 2014. So that's 6 years ago. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, my husband's done it for 40, so so I don't think I'll ever make it that long.
I'm sure you will.
So, what sports do you compete in, and what is your favorite?
So I compete in cycling locally, regionally, internationally, and nationally. I'm a 6-time gold medalist in cycling. I'm also a swimmer locally, regionally, and nationally.
Have you ever competed at World Games?
I have. I went to the World Games in 2015 and managed to get 3 golds. And I went to the Abu Dhabi World Games in 2019 and managed to get another 3 golds. I do like to do horse riding and open water swimming, but I haven't competed in those 2 sports.
That sounds good. I wish we had cycling here, but Illinois doesn't offer it, so
Maybe one day
unfortunate.
they might. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so. So, could you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and about your disability?
Of course. So I have Rubinstein-Tabby mosaic. I also have dyspraxia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, and also autism traits. It's a lot of labels, I know, but it means I have a learning disability. I struggle with numbers, telling the time. I just don't really get them or understand them. I also struggle to read lots of text.
Oh, I'm the same way. I have high functioning autism, so I struggle with time is one of my, it might be 5 minutes past, but then to me it feels like a decade. So, so, but yeah. So, what are some of the challenges you face?
I got bullied at school and I struggled to keep friends and also make them. I was never chosen to do competitive sport at school as I was never good enough to win in the mainstream world.
Yeah, bullying is the worst part. Hopefully someday there will be no such thing as bullying, but I think that's one of our hardest problems right now
I
to
hope so
struggle with.
too.
Um, during this time of COVID, what are some of the things like we talked about earlier that you can't do and or that you struggle with more?
Not being able to see my friends or hug them or be able to do any competitions in my sport, I haven't been able to do physical public speaking at all, not even in schools or being a keynote speaker.
Do you find that do you like doing public speaking better in person? And then have you found other outlets to like Zoom or anything to do that with?
Yeah, no, I like doing it in person because you can feel the energy in the room and you can see how the people react, but also how they can actually relate to you as well. I have been doing Zoom. I've learned about online platforms recently as well to try and understand because some people use different ones depending on what their job is or what their role is.
I definitely agree. Like you said, I think it's better to do it in person because you have that interaction. And sometimes, depending upon the person, I feel like sometimes they do better in person than, because they can maybe have a PowerPoint or something like that that they can, use. So, what kind of supports do you use to help you with your challenges?
So, as I mentioned before, I struggle to read a lot of text, but another thing is I use purple text if it's on a white background because if it's black and white, I struggle to concentrate and then I get a headache and then it's really hard. But also I use a color coded app. So let's say we do a 20-minute warm up. I would do 5 minutes, which is green, 8 minutes, which is progressive, and that would be orange. Then I'd have 10-second sprints, there'd be 3 of them, and they would be in red, and I would go back down to green again. But also, if I didn't have the color coded app, I won't be able to warm up properly or warm down. And also, when I'm doing my coaching, that helps me as well because I create a session plan. But like I said, numbers is really hard for me. So putting time next to it, but I put it into my Apple Watch and then I can see it. So I know what color means what's happening next. It might vibrate as well or beep at me to know when it's moving on.
Oh, that's a good idea. I've never thought of that. So, um, if you could give any advice to people with an intellectual disabilities, especially like women, what would it be?
I would say that people with intellectual disabilities are given respect and they're accepted to actually have opportunities to be able to get a job and achieve their goals that they want to choose to do. To be able to get a higher paid job, but for me as a female, to get equal pay, and also other people to not judge you in society anymore.
Oh, I definitely agree. Before I let you go, do you think that it's harder for women with intellectual disabilities to, or would it be harder for men, maybe?
I personally think it's hard on both sides because people think that you can't achieve something just because you got a disability. But I say that you shouldn't give up on your dreams and goals. You can achieve it, and also kindness as well. I think kindness is an important trait to show people, and I say treat people the way that you want to be treated. So when you see someone smile, they tend to smile back at you because it's a happy way. But I think females find it a little bit more difficult because in society, it's in the past we've had found it quite hard to say what we want to say, but now because of social media and women is one of the big topics at the moment, there's that platform to actually say this is what I want to say, these are my rights, and everybody should have an opinion and we should listen to them and respect that opinion, even if you might not think of it yourself, you might not feel it's right, but as long as you are open and showing that you're actually willing to learn from each other.
I definitely agree. I think kindness is golden. If you don't treat somebody, with kindness, then, you don't expect it back. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. It was nice to get to know you. So,
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be
yeah,
here and to meet you and your listeners.
not a problem. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And remember that people with intellectual disabilities can be successful in their life just like everyone else.